Ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning of the year, Joey pioneered a raging rap battle about West Coast glazing. Guarding the East, he set out to defeat the 4 feet whipping winning MC King Kung Fu Kenny Joey wanted the crown from. But how dumb. He's at a lower level telling Kendrick, come down, son. You scared of my town, running from some bars about your city while the ruler's back, freaking off the new year like he's Diddy. It got gritty when the light of day and Ray came out to play, slaying Joey without Kendrick even acknowledging the attempted stray, laying the foundation for Joey's final vindication, cause he's back now with a vengeance, asking Kendrick to awaken. Yes, in my last video you guys got mad. You thought the title was clickbait since I said Joey dissed Kendrick but he never had. But really he did. He said that Kendrick sent the troops to come at Joey's wig instead of Kendrick himself firing the nukes. But now Joey is back to attack Ray Vaughn, but this time not with Big Sean. He's coming solo on the song, and he's suggesting that the ultimate opponent that he wants is Kendrick Lamar. So let's unpack the bars and see if Kendrick will respond, but first break the like and subscribe buttons like heat to a frozen pond. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a war going on outside no man is safe from. Joey Bad Boy Records Bad Man Diddy Disciple is getting destroyed by the West Coast Avengers, but we are getting diss track after diss track. This feels like Kendrick and Drake all over again. I love it. This is what hip-hop is all about. In this video, we are going to break down, I don't even know how many diss tracks, honestly, multiple. Too many to count. We got Reason and Ray Vaughn firing at Joey. We got Joey firing at TDE and Ray Vaughn and Kendrick. Don't downplay his shots at Kendrick, alright? The real opponent that Joey is trying to gun for is Kendrick Lamar right now. You can say what you will, but he's calling that man out of his name. Now, whether Kendrick could respond or not, well, that's up for debate, and we will break down whether or not he should respond at the end of this video. But let's first unpack the bars and see if Joey came out with some battle scars. Now, I'll lay the context down for you guys, and then we will dissect Joey's pen. So, obviously, at the beginning of the year, Joey came out, the ruler's back. He said there's too much West Coast D-licking. Joey said he is the king of New York, and many took this as Joey trying to align himself against Kendrick and bring the boogeyman back. But many heavy West Coast MCs inherited the beef and took it upon themselves to fire back at Joey on behalf of their hometown. We had several responses from Daylight. Big Jenkins responded, and I believe Ray Vaughn had the most disrespectful set of bars aimed at Joey with his freestyle to the Heart Part 6, Crash Out Heritage. And just off the title alone, you could tell Ray Vaughn was letting the Rays spawn. Alright, I'm gonna stop with the rhymes and just focus on the actual rapper's rhymes. So yeah, Ray Vaughn came at Joey, Crash Out Heritage, with bars like, what's with the sneak dissing, taking shots at us, then hide the Uzi, cause the only bad man the world recognizing is Boosie. Please don't get confused with shooting the movies. We really shooting. You were on Soul's album, so if you ask me, you're looking like a goofy. And he declared, when it seems like everyone hates us, how could we not crash? The pop-out did something for guys who don't got dads. Watch us make the stock crash. Kids play with cap guns. Last year was Act 1. So I'm that guy, Black Gums. I came for chicken, flats, and drums. He also called Joey a clout chaser, saying Joey has no hits. Went and put Giuseppe's on for clout chasing. It's outrageous. Just go and make them hits that you not making without hating. And the last line he says on that song is, I turn one of you guys to an album rollout. And then on his album rollout, he did an interview with Ebro, and Ray Vaughn had said, why should Kendrick respond to this beef when really Joey's more on Ray Vaughn's level? Keep in mind, Ray Vaughn's a brand new artist than he is on Kendrick's level. And of course, you guys know Joey came back with his Red Bull freestyle with Ab-Soul and Big Sean, where he refueled the friendly fade, asking Kendrick why Kendrick didn't respond to him directly, but instead sent all the West Coast troops. Of course, there were some shots for Ray Vaughn and for Daylight on that record, and this sparked a lyrical war that we will now break down. Ray Vaughn, within a day of this Red Bull freestyle, dropped his own diss record titled Ho Era, of course in reference to Joey's collective Pro Era, and this is by far the most disrespectful we've seen this battle get taken so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still just hip-hop, there's no lawsuits being filed, but this response is crazy, alright? So Ray Vaughn starts it off, I already know you've been talking about me, people on that stuff again, and then we get into the chorus, which is, hey, Hoey, is you stupid or you dumb? Popping it then screaming about a 20v1. Hey, Hoey, is you finished or you done? We don't give a F where you from. Call back to the Breakfast Club interview with Birdman where he said, are you finished or are y'all done? And of course, he's referencing the fact that Joey started this whole thing off and unintentionally got himself in a 20v1, right? In the attempt to simply bait Kendrick, he really baited the entire West Coast. And now we kick off with verse 1 of this whole era record. And this first line alone is pretty savage. Baby teeth, you ain't even got a plaque yet. So a little double entendre here, right? Of course, baby teeth, meaning you haven't fully grown into your big boy teeth. You don't have the plaque on your teeth yet, but plaque could also be referencing a platinum grill, right? But there's an added layer to it because, of course, in the interview with Ebro, Ray Vaughn was talking about how why should Kendrick respond to Joey when Joey is more on Ray Vaughn's level than he is to Kendrick. Joey has released about 4 albums, I believe, throughout his entire career. Don't get me wrong, has way more music than Ray Vaughn, and at this point has a lot better music than Ray Vaughn. Ray Vaughn's most recent mixtape was amazing, but think about Joey's catalog, right? 1999, Before the Money, All-American Badman. Those alone are like 3 generational classics of the 2010s, in my opinion at least. But the crazy thing is, he does not have a plaque for one of them, according to Ray Vaughn at least, and according to Wikipedia as well. None of his albums have went gold or platinum. However, sometimes rappers don't fully update their record sales, so it's possible and probable that a lot of these Joey Badman albums have sold over 500,000 copies, which would make them gold, but he never got them fully certified, aka he didn't do the work to get his own plaque. And a big, problem within this whole thing, right, is that Joey took a break from music to focus on acting. He was in one of the Power spin-offs, one of 50 Cent's shows. And people were upset because he kind of came back in on this, attention-seeking energy, I guess you could call it, right? When he called out the whole West Coast on the ruler's back and declaring he's, the king of the East. It's like, what work have you done over the last 5 years, almost 10 years, to even deserve that title, right? And look at what Kendrick's doing, all the work he's putting in to create these moments for his hometown, for the West Coast. You haven't done any of that, but instead, you're just here hating, right? Instead, you should be proving yourself a little bit more before you start talking crazy, disrespecting not just Kendrick, but an entire coast. So Ray Vaughn here is saying, you're still at the baby stages of your career, baby teeth. You don't even have a plaque yet. There's no gold, platinum album. So how are you going to talk crazy to Kendrick when you don't even have the accolades to go toe-to-toe with someone like a Ray Vaughn, right? He continues, fact check. We want to see the numbers like a math test. Run, Joey, run. We gonna aim at your backpack. Calling Joey essentially a backpack rapper. With that also being a double entendre because he's talking about wanting to see the numbers like a math test. Of course, that's the whole school theme, right? The backpack, the math test. But he's saying we want to see the numbers, right? Where are your plaques? Where are your numbers that you're putting on the board? Real stuff. You should act more. You should rap less. I mean, to be fair, Joey probably made a lot more money in the time period of, let's say 1 to 2 years from acting than he would have from rapping. I saw Joey live in, I believe, 2017, and this was the peak of his, at least, commercial success. It was a solo tour, but the venue only held about 1,500 people. Tickets were about $40. That means the show probably generated around $60,000, and this is Canadian dollars too, so that's $40K US, right? So let's say Joey takes home half of that, $20K a show. Hey, I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. And that was one of the best performances I have ever seen to this day. But when you're stacking numbers up like that against what he was probably paid on a roll for a show as big as Raising Cain, and again, that concert was at the height of Joey's career from a commercial perspective. So Ray might have a point here. In 2025, Joey might be making more money by sticking to acting rather than, trying to go toe-to-toe against the entire West Coast. But let's continue. Every verse, ASS, what that BBL cost. Another double entendre, because of course, a BBL is an enhanced fake butt, right? And he's saying that each one of Joey's verses are ASS, they're trash. But when you break it down, what that BBL cost, he's comparing Joey's verses to a BBL. So he's saying those verses that you're spitting where you're firing at me, Kendrick, the entire West Coast, those are going to cost you some money, right? Or some consequences. We're going to come and attack you back. So what that BBL cost, what that ASS verse, what does that really cost you? What are the repercussions from the actions in the lyrics you're spitting? West Coast get in season. Now you heavy on the salt. You get it? West Coast in season, seasoning. And he's salty. Joey's salty. Catch him at the Staples Center. Bet you I'm a spark. LA Sparks. WNBA reference. Goofy, don't let power get your TV turned off. Reference to Kendrick's TV off song. And of course, Joey starred in a spinoff of the Power series. And another double entendre because he's saying, don't let all this power that you think you have get you shut down. Plus, with an inflated ego from a big acting role on Power, maybe now you're talking a little too crazy and your TV might have to get turned off. Bro, what? You done ran into them steppers who don't tap dance. Gucci trash bands just for you to put them raps in. Conductor got you sounding like you in a jazz band. Now, Conductor, has an interesting little history over the last, I want to call it 2 years now, right? He did a lot of records on Drake's For All the Dogs Scary Hour project, 8 a.m. in Charlotte, the Wickman. He did that Fighting Irish freestyle beat that Lobry was rapping about, LeBron James and reflecting on the entire beef. He actually also did J. Cole's deleted diss track, 7-Minute Drill. He did the second beat on that song, and he produced The Ruler's Back for Joey. So if you break it down, he's done 3 Kendrick diss song beats in the last year. And of course, he samples a lot of old jazz records into his beats. So Ray is saying here that Conductor got him sounding like he's in a jazz band. Oh, Conductor also did the second beat that Joey was taking aim at the West Coast, Sorry Not Sorry. So yeah, 4 diss records indirectly aimed at Kendrick over the last year. But let's continue. Why you going after Dot? He think he Pac-Man, woo. Of course, in the video game Pac-Man, the character Pac-Man is eating a bunch of dots. That's the objective of the game. Whereas in the rap game, Kendrick was initially known as K-Dot. So he's saying, why you going after Dot? What is that for? Then he takes aim at some of Joey's artists. CJ like 40, and he on drugs. Clickbaiting for the honeycomb. Get your own buzz. Now, Honeycomb is in reference to Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, who Joey actually had a friendship with and has collaborated with in the past. Skeletons inside my closet playing Bone Thugs. I'll put the whole pro era on a pro club. Pro Club is a t-shirt brand, so Ray Vaughn here is saying he'll put Joey's entire collective on a t-shirt, aka he'll unalive them, by digging up the skeletons within his closet. Then we get into verse 2, where Ray raps, people want smoke, I'm a vape lord, walk around with 9 on me, feel like I'm in grade 4. Now hey, on a side note, if you guys want a little bit of Canadian culture, Canadian history, this is how we actually reference different grade levels in Canada. So I know in America, or at least I believe this is what my American family has told me in the past, instead of saying grade 4, you guys would say 4th grade. In Canada, we say grade 4. So maybe my family members have been tripping. Maybe it is an American thing to also say grade 4. But I always thought it was a weird way to say it. Like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 instead of like 1st grade, 4th grade, 69th grade. So drop a comment telling me how you guys would say it. But yeah, in grade 4 or 4th grade, you are 9 years old. So double entendre here, Ray saying, walk around with 9 on me, like a 9mm firearm, feel like I'm in grade 4. I can send him to the stars. He get paid for. Of course, Joey taking a break from rapping to become a Hollywood star. Ray is saying he will send him back, not only off this planet, but also to the stars, back to the actors, right? He'll make him go back to acting, similar to how Kendrick sent Drake to become a mariachi artist after their beef. But standing next to Soul ain't gonna save yours. So obviously he's referencing the fact that Joey dissed Ray Vaughn on a freestyle with Ab-Soul, where Ab-Soul had said that Ray hit heavy and that, Joey was kind of going at the whole West Coast. Joey came back and said, I was just shooting to see whoever would take the bait, right? This is all in the name of hip hop. And of course, on Crash Out Heritage, Ray was talking about how Joey dissed the entire West Coast. He dissed TDE, he disrespected Kendrick, but in 2022, he was featured on Ab-Soul's Herbert album. So what is this flip-flopping on both sides, right? He continues, but every verse, how we talking about, I'm back. We don't give a F about where you was or where you at. I mean, aside from The Ruler's Back, Joey has had a lot of records recently talking about him being back, even talking about him being in the Big 3, right? He noticeably left Drake out, saying that the Big 3 was him, Kendrick, and Cole on a song off his 2000 album. And Ray emphasizes that people care more for Joey's acting than his rapping, saying, see, the fans only know you for the acts, not the blaps. I know where you wasn't. You was never on the map. Joey never made globally appealing music. He was always a very regional artist and never really broke out of New York. I might disagree with that because, again, I saw him in Canada, right? And he most definitely sold the F out of a 1,500 person venue there. I don't know if Ray could do the same. Look, sleep with one eye open, I'm in Futurama. This is in reference to Leela, I believe her name was. I used to watch that show all the time with the purple hair and the one eye. Ray is saying here, he's paranoid, he's ready for war, he's sleeping with one eye open like he's Leela from Futurama. And she was a tough lady too, if you guys watch that show. She was captain of the ship, she was, fighting people left and right. Ray is embodying that energy. Old heads ain't trying to school you, so let me do the honors. Of course, another double entendre with the school reference. Stupid butt guy, I can tell he never been in drama. Who a nobody? I was writing for your baby mama. So he's referencing how Joey, on the 3rd song he released this year, first it was The Ruler's Back, then it was Sorry Not Sorry, then it was Pardon Me, and he rapped, nobody knows your name, kid, but I know what your aim is. I shoot you, I'm brainless. You shoot me, you're famous. Basically saying like he has nothing to gain but everything to lose by going against Ray Vaughn, but Ray Vaughn will get a lot more attention by going at a bigger artist like Joey, calling Ray a nobody. And Ray flips it to say, who's a nobody, I was writing for your baby mama. Joey's partner, Soraya, is reported to be both an actress and an artist, just like Joey, and Ray is here alleging that he might have written some songs up in her stash, right? Call yourself speaking for the coast without backup. Of course, Joey calling himself the king of New York. No one really came to his defense except for CJ Fly. Ray continues, dropped a little 3-pack EP, and that sucked. That was, of course, The Ruler's Back, Sorry Not Sorry, and Pardon Me. See, what happened last time an actor beef with rapper? How you on TV and your homie using CapCut? He's referencing the Kendrick Drake beef, saying what happened the last time an actor, aka La Brianna, beefed with a rapper, aka Kendrick, and how you're on TV, how are you on those Power series, but your homie CJ Fly, when he's making diss tracks, he's making the music videos for those diss tracks on CapCut, a free video editing service. Even I use a more expensive editing service, and as you guys could probably tell, my edits are not very good. Drop a comment if you care about good video editing in videos, or if you're just kind of listening to me spitball here. He continues, get active, stop acting, get active, gain traction. Your last slap was in 2017. See, so that's exactly when I saw Joey in concert. That was definitely the peak of his commercial appeal, right? He had that hit song Devastated, All American Badman. That was a pretty big album. Drop a comment if you guys remember the song Ring the Alarm off that project. That was a fire track. Ray continues, and I play ball. I can deal with guys on the screen. Basketball reference, and of course, Joey is on the screen. He's acting. Ray Wappa, quick to turn a guy to a rollout. Heard they moved the goalpost every time we show out. Yeah, so again, just like Joey said, you know, like Ray gains a lot from going toe-to-toe with Joey if Joey responds, right? It turns into a whole album rollout because he's destroying Joey and gets a lot of publicity from that. And then he's saying Joey moves the goalpost every time West Coast artists pop out, right? Because at first it was too much West Coast D-licking, I'm the king of New York. Then the West Coast artist responded, and Joey's like, nah, I'm waiting for Kendrick. The goalpost is moving. Ray continues, hair salon convo. It really is a blowout. Dot didn't respond. Now you're trying to call Cole out? Dummy. And yeah, that was kind of funny. On Sorry Not Sorry, the second song Joey released this year, which also referenced this whole little 20v1 that Joey started, he started calling Cole out as well, saying might delete later, but Joey won't. Of course, because Cole deleted his diss track, right? And named his project at the time Might Delete Later. So we get to verse 3. Hey, rock him. Stupid guy. Think he rock him. TDE superstar is jealous. He ain't locked in. I done peeled so many caps. I go to med school. Bullets flying by. Sound like sounds on the Neptune. Thought the beef was livestock. Really, it was Deadpool. For that energy, I gave him wings once I Red Bull. Get it? Red Bull gives you wings. Sorry Not Sorry, that stuff was weak, Pardon Me. Those are the two songs that Joey released referencing this beef. He made a whole EP, Coppin' Please. Black man, let him breathe. Nah, F that. Hang him from the popular trees. First he's saying like spare his life, then he's saying nah, F that. Hang him from the popular trees. And that's in reference to Nina Simone's 1965 poem Strange Fruit, a song about the horrors of black slaves being hung from the trees. You might recognize the sample from Kanye West's song Blood on the Leaves. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. But Ray Vaughn flips that to say from the popular trees. Because again, he's saying Joey has no hits, has no plaques. He's not popular. He's still on Ray's level, and Ray is a newcomer, right? He had y'all fooled like he'd do it for the sport. I'm Snoop Dogg kicking over his little fort. There was a music video of Snoop Dogg kicking over the New York skyscrapers. So that's a slick line. B, you washed. You ain't carrying no torch. You let Ice Spice turn into the king of New York. What the F? Nah, bro, that's not fair. Ice Spice did like 25,000 in the first week with her debut album. Joey would outsell that, right? Joey would outsell that. Come on. But yeah, New York hip hop right now, I don't know. To me, at least, it's kind of in a sad place, right? I mean, the Griselda guys are doing great, but who else? I'm probably blanking on some names, but really, I mean, shout out to Joey because he is, you know, bringing a good competitive energy back onto the East Coast, but he's doing it solo. That's what's crazy. And he did come back respectfully a day later to respond to Ray Vaughn and bring Kendrick back into it, begging for the smoke. Again, Joey really wants to battle Kendrick, right? He doesn't want to attack Daylight and Ray Vaughn. He wants Kendrick. So let's see what he's got to say. But first, shout out to Ray Vaughn. I mean, he took one day after that Red Bull freestyle to cook up Ho Era, and it was pretty fire. So let me know what you guys think. The Finals by Joey Badman or Ho Era by Ray Vaughn? Anyways, let's get into the finals. Joey Badman produced by Fierce, Coleman, Dirtwork, and none other than Drake's right-hand guy, Boy Wonder. He starts it off with the intro, stupid or you dumb, like Ray Vaughn said in his song. And then he says, Knicks in the 6, Joey in 1. He's saying it's only going to take him one diss record to slaughter Ray Vaughn. All right, so Joey kicks it off rapping, what kind of top dog is you? You're more like a Shih Tzu. You was cloned in the lab, dog. You're artificial. You known for your label, not because your art official. This is a slick bar because obviously Ray Vaughn is signed to Top Dog Entertainment, right? Joey here is saying, you're not a top dog, you're a Shih Tzu. A Shih Tzu is a very small, frail dog. And I have a Maltese. They're similar to Shih Tzus. They're very small. They just like to yap a lot. And it's a man-made breed. Like, they concocted it through 2 different dog breeds, right? So he's saying, you were cloned in a lab dog, you're artificial. You're known for your label, not because your art is official. Artificial, you get it? Very nice, off the rip. And I ain't gotta talk about how broke you are to fix you, because when I send shots at you, it'd be hard to miss you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And he's saying Ray Vaughn is broke. And Joey's saying, I don't gotta sit here talking about how broke you are, how bad of a rapper you are to fix your career, right? Because if I come and diss you, it will just give you more clout. But he's also saying when I send aim at you, it'd be hard to miss you, right? Like, you're a very easy target. Ain't got a load of magazine just to press this issue. Double entendre, magazine, issue. More firearm bars here with, in fact, these ain't even shots, they're missiles. Saying like, this is the nuke, right? Joey in one. Trying to outclass the bad man, haha, so I guess I gotta dismiss you. So, Ray again came with some math class bars, some school bars. Joey is bringing back the school wordplay here. Trying to outclass Joey, I gotta dismiss you. Like how you get dismissed in a classroom. You all bark, no bite, huh? But hit dogs gon' holler. And he makes a lot of references to dogs here. Because of course, again, Ray Vaughn is signed to Top Dog Entertainment. Caught a couple strays, now it's time I put him on the collar. I let him rot while I charge him for top dollar. Rottweiler is a dog. And he's saying he got to put him on the collar, right? He's got to put the neck in the noose. He's got to finish him, right? Just like how Ray Vaughn was saying, I'm going to hang you from the popular tree. You're the next guy getting dropped off the top roster. Top Dog Entertainment, right? He's saying, you're the next guy to get dropped off the label. And this is actually in reference to the fact that Reason, the artist, was dropped off of TDE in 2024. And Reason came back with a diss track of his own. Let me know if you guys want me to break that one down. And then he continues, and I'ma be the reason. So he's saying, you're the next guy to get dropped off TDE, and I'ma be the reason. AKA Reason was the one who got dropped off of TDE, and Joey will be the reason why Ray Vaughn will be the next one to get dropped off. You sick dog looking for beef with a seasoned vet. Again, remember how Ray Vaughn had the double entendre about Joey being salty and it being West Coast seasoning. Here Joey's saying he's a seasoned vet. I euthanize sick pups. You gon' see. You're barking up the wrong tree. Think you effing with me. It's about time Top left your ASS off the leash. Like, it's about time that you finally got to release your project, right? Top finally let you drop. Signed for 5 years. Had your biggest moment from me. Which, to be fair, it's kind of true. I mean, Ray Vaughn's new mixtape, again, was phenomenal. But in terms of what has gotten him probably the most headlines, it was definitely Crash Out Heritage. Can't nobody name a single song you ever released. Even Crash Out Heritage wasn't your original beat, right? It was the beat to the Heart Part 6. And by the way, these are Joey's bars, not mine. If you thought I was the one rapping here, right? Every time Joey dropped, you see he eats. I did more for you than the whole of TDE. Still going off the, idea that beefing with Joey has brought Ray Vaughn more attention than simply being signed to TDE. It's too bad, my guy. You should have signed to me. Someone tell Top we about to start TD East. So this is a slick bar because obviously Death Row was a West Coast label, right? But when there was that whole Tupac and Biggie beef and everyone blew it up to make it an East Coast versus West Coast beef, Tupac actually said he had the idea of making a Death Row East Coast label, like artists based out of New York signed to a different division of Death Row. Joey is saying the same thing here, right? Because TDE is also a West Coast based label. This has kind of become like an East versus West type of thing, but in a much more friendly way. And Joey here is saying, I should sign you, Ray Vaughn, because I've given you more attention than your whole label has in the 5 years you've been signed to them. I should start a whole new division of TDE for the East Coast. Funny how they got to use pro name for promo, because obviously Ray Vaughn named his song Ho Era, which was in reference to Joey's collective Pro Era, which was started by the late Capital Steez, R.I.P. And Joey here is saying, of course, they got to bring in my collective for promo instead of just aiming right at me. On the low, though, I really think you guys are homo the way you let .D sit in your mouth. This is the same D licking I was talking about. So here he's finally bringing Kendrick's name into it, right? Because at first he started off saying too much West Coast D licking. Obviously, the D licking, as Joey would put it, stemmed from the Pop Out concert, right? The GNX album, all these major moments Kendrick was creating for the West Coast. So here Joey is saying, I was shooting at Kendrick and you guys all jumped out to defend him. You guys have Kendrick's D in your mouth. This is where that all started from, is you guys just deriding Kendrick. And of course, he can't come out and send shots at me, so he's got to let the troops do the talking. You guys would do anything for the clout. Crash out over guys who don't even let you in their house. I bet you don't even have his number. It's funny how the thirst is being disguised as hunger. That's crazy, man. So he's basically saying, like, Rayvon does not have Kendrick's number. He doesn't even know Kendrick, right? Kendrick, let's be real here, is not even signed to TDE anymore, right? He's saying Rayvon has no real connection to Kendrick, aside from the fact that they were both signed to the same label at one point, and they're both from the West Coast. Joey is saying you're doing all this deriding for a guy who doesn't even know you, who wouldn't even invite you to his house, who hasn't even given you his number yet, right? So all that quote-unquote hunger you're talking about, you're hungry to be this incredible rapper putting on for the West Coast, defending the West Coast against Joey, it's really just thirst because you've been deriding Kendrick for so long. Insane wordplay here. Should have sat down, been humble, but now I gotta sun you. So obviously that's in reference to Kendrick's song, Be Humble, right? This little ray of light will be the biggest shine of your whole life. That's in reference to Rayvon, right? Ray of light. And this beef is going to be the biggest moment of his career. I don't just flow, I talk to your soul on the mic. Remember that Red Bull freestyle where Joey was dissing Rayvon in Daylight? He was literally talking to Ab-Soul, right? Ab-Soul was in that freestyle with him and they were going back and forth, talking to each other throughout the cypher. You don't want smoke with me. Please, just give me a light. You don't need me to buzz. I'm light years beyond Ray. There's a play on words on Rayvon's name. Of course, light rays and light years and Buzz Lightyear, right? And he's saying Rayvon does not need Joey for the clout, right? He should just gain traction off the strength of his own music. Want me to engage? So you mentioned my fiance. Remember how, of course, Rayvon said that he was ghostwriting for Joey's fiance. Clearly, I ain't scared to get in the ring. Play on words because, of course, Rayvon was baiting Joey by name-dropping his fiance. And Joey said he's not scared in general to get in the ring, whether Rayvon mentioned fiance or not. And of course, when you get married, when you propose, when you become a fiance, you're getting that ring on the finger, right? Clearly, I ain't scared to get in the ring. I mean, even Gervonta had to fight a couple bums just to be king. He's calling Rayvon a bum. F around, leave me no choice but to slay Vaughn. Sugar in your tank, but you ain't no Sugar Ray, Vaughn. Gay Vaughn. Keep punching up with them pillow hands. You ain't even a middleman. You're just a little man. F-whipping feet, we throw hands like Rayman. What did Kendrick say on Euphoria? I'm Terrence Thornton, I'm whipping feet. Joey's saying he's fighting different. He's throwing hands. There's no whipping feet. You ain't no Ray Liotta. How much you made, man? Said I wouldn't talk about your pocket, but hey, man, you need an optician just to see Ray-Bans. Another double entendre on Ray's name and the eyewear, Ray-Bans. Go fetch a coffee for your CEO. Because judging by the numbers, clearly I can see he's owed. That's a slick one because, of course, when a label signs you, they're investing in your career, right? You get an advance, you get a marketing budget. It costs money to record an album, promote an album, and release an album. So Joey is saying because Rayvon's album sold so little, TDE, his label, is still in the red on their investment in him, right? They haven't made money off him. Rayvon still owes Top Dog money. So he's saying go fetch a coffee for him. Go do him a favor because obviously he still lost money on investing in you. Your mouth running because your pockets run on low. I'm active and I'm acting, yeah. And that's something only me and Pac would know. Because, of course, Tupac also had his fair share of acting roles, right? But aside from that, of course, he was also a pretty decent rapper, right? We could say that it's fair to say Tupac was a decent rapper, right? Play with fire, you're going to get burned. Listen and learn, kid. You was better off as the intern. And remember, he just told him a few bars earlier to go fetch a coffee, right? And that's because Rayvon just put out a brand new mixtape. He's getting that spotlight right now, right? As one of the heads of TDE, aside from maybe SZA and Doechii. Joey is saying he's better off as an afterthought. He's better off in the back, right? Instead of trying to test someone like Doechii. Sorry, someone like Joey, not Doechii. Better yet, you're a mascot. I've been a beast with these flows. You can ask Dot. Illuminati Part 2. So this was his response to Kendrick's Control verse, Illuminati Part 2. And I'm telling you, man, like all these intern bars saying that he's an afterthought in TDE, he doesn't want smoke with Rayvon. He wants smoke with the head honcho of TDE, right? Kendrick Lamar. And he's saying, you can ask Kendrick how I'm coming, right? I was coming like this 12 years ago on my response to Control, and Kendrick still hasn't responded to that. Joey says, yeah, that was my last shot. And it's a difference between that and the ruler's back. Let's be clear. I salute you, Kenny, but I know you well aware. You're looking for some competition, then just know that I'll be right here. So that's interesting, right? Because when Illuminati Part 2 came out, this was right off the heels of Joey releasing his debut mixtape 1999. In my opinion, still his best project to this day. Joey got a lot of buzz off that project. That's what really propelled him into the talks of being, the next guy up of his class, along with the Rockies, the Logics, the Chance the Rappers, like that era, right? Joey was kind of like one class behind the Kendricks and the Coles. So on Control, Kendrick did not name drop Joey. He only had one project out, right? 1999. So on Illuminati Part 2, Joey talked about being overlooked at the time, right? Feeling like he deserved to be in that list of rappers Kendrick spat on Control, and feeling a type of way of Kendrick calling himself the King of New York, right? And then on The Ruler's Back, 2025, we're in a very different time zone now. Both Joey and Kendrick are a lot more accomplished, and it's here where Joey declares himself the King of New York, right? So he's saying it's a big difference between when I released Illuminati Part 2 at the start of my career to when I released The Ruler's Back. And along with that, obviously, the messaging is different as well. On Illuminati Part 2, he was kind of more so trying to prove himself as being worthy of being mentioned by Kendrick, right? Rhymes like, be more specific next time you shout in loud, amigo. I'm not the star. In fact, I plan it all. F with the media, right? This is a fire bar. Please don't leave your comment if you're not up to par. No names, putting you in a verse that's too far. Well, actually, now that I think back to Illuminati Part 2, it kind of was very similar in energy to The Ruler's Back, right? Lines like, these rap guys don't want static for real because their line's not adjacent to my spectacular skill. If you don't F with the cinematic, stand still. My life's a movie on the reel. You can get shot with your hands on the wheel, with your pants at your heels. Like, he was definitely trying to insinuate that Kendrick did not want smoke with him, right? Kind of same thing with Ruler's Back. He was saying there's too much West Coast D-licking. I'm hearing guys throwing rocks. Really ain't stuff sticking. And something about, unaliving chickens and drawing pentagrams. But yeah, Joey's saying there's a difference between that time period when I released the Illuminati Part 2 song and you released Control versus now when you got this beef with Drake going on, I released The Ruler's Back, declaring myself King of New York and ready to stand up for the coast, for my own legacy. And telling Kendrick once again that if he's looking for some competition, Joey is right here. So all in all, two very dope diss tracks that we just got. And of course, Reason dropped as well. If you guys want a full breakdown of that, let me know in the comments. I have no doubt we'll be hearing from Daylight very soon. And I'm sure Rayvon will respond again if he hasn't already by the time I'm recording this video. There's too much to keep up with here. But I read some interesting tweets about whether or not Kendrick should respond. And I want to read them out to you guys and let me know what you think. So someone said, Kendrick got a pass for ducking Lupe, Sean, Big Sean, everybody who responded to Control outside of Drake, because obviously he did respond to Drake, and now he's going to get one for ducking Joey. All that, call my name and I promise that you'll see Candyman, was cap. So yeah, essentially, Kendrick did get a lot of responses to Control, and his response to that was, when TMZ caught him in an airport, he said, all of them got to step it up if they want to get it. And of course, 10 years later, he let Drake have it, right? We have another tweet that said, the fact that it's a convo that Ray, Vaughn, and Joey's records are that close legit proves Ray's point. And Ray's point again was that Kendrick should not be responding to Joey because Joey is more on Ray Vaughn's level than he is to Kendrick's. And Ray Vaughn again is a newcomer, right? So let's continue here. Why do people not want a Kendrick versus Joey battle? It would be completely different to the Drake one, focused purely on hip-hop, and it definitely wouldn't be as personal. More good music equals a win for us. So yeah, that's to all the people saying, Kendrick doesn't need to respond. He shouldn't respond to this. He's basically saying here, like, why shouldn't he, right? We'll just get better music, and it won't turn into a bloodbath of gossip-style headlines like it did with the Drake beef. But here's someone defending Kendrick not answering. Why would Jay-Z battle Jadakiss after battling Nas when he had Beanie Siegel? Why would Kendrick, ... you finish the sentence. Bosses battle bosses. Don't give me that quote-unquote real hip-hop stuff either. Or what about this one? I'm sorry, but anyone who thinks Kendrick shouldn't respond because he's too big is full of crap, and so is Kendrick if he also feels that way. A lot of y'all done turned into OV hoes. Hit a J3 said, Ray Vaughn just wanted to get Joey's attention. Now he gonna give him the whole clip. All that other stuff was appetizers. Hip Hop by the Numbers said, imagine if Kendrick was more like Eminem. Eminem went back at everyone who came at him. It was a glorious era for beef. Someone else said, man, let's be honest. Kendrick spent 15 years seething in a dark room with Drake's pictures on the walls, imagining what he'd say in a beef, and still couldn't outperform Drake lyrically. Cap on that, but let's continue. Y'all will never see this man in another battle again. Joey would torch this guy. And I believe Kendrick very indirectly already did respond to Joey on Playboi Carti song Good Credit, where he said, I would have said F you too, but you knew that the list was full, right? Kendrick has enough bigger ops to deal with than Joey Badman. How many ops you really got? I mean, it's too many options, right? In my opinion, I'd love to see Kendrick respond to this, and if Kendrick does give us new music in the future, I do think he'll address this in a certain capacity, probably subliminally. I can't see him going diss track for diss track against Joey, especially not while he's on tour. And these are not really scathing enough shots to feel the need to respond to, right? If Joey comes back and aims even harder at both Rayvon and Kendrick, then maybe that's a different story, right? If Joey can say anything noteworthy about Kendrick or against Kendrick that would warrant a response, then I would say forget how big or how small both of them are in comparison to each other. If Joey is disrespecting Kendrick, Kendrick should respond. I don't think it matters how accomplished one artist is versus another. I think the creative expression of character dissection that we get on record is what determines what warrants a response and what doesn't. Like, for example, the Heart Part 6 did not warrant a response, right? Drake, you could argue, is the bigger artist than Kendrick. It doesn't matter. The Heart Part 6 was awful. Kendrick won the beef with Not Like Us, right? All of these shots right here do not warrant a response from Kendrick. But if Joey comes back with something a little more serious and Kendrick doesn't respond, that's a whole different story. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who had the better diss track? Rayvon? Joey? Do you think Kendrick should respond? Does he need to respond? Would you like him to respond? Let me know in the comments, and I will catch you in the next one.